The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to Old Space Show. I am Brandon, and this is my co-captain, Jim.
We're riding around the old space, checking it out, and feeling funky.
Heck yeah. This installment of Old Space Show continues our episode by episode travelogue through the second season of Space 1999, where the moon is knocked out of orbit, wandering through outer space, the population of its human-built colony hoping to stumble upon a new home. Today we are talking about the fourth episode, All That Glisters.
The Alpha Moon Base needs a rare ore known as Milganite, which is detected on an extremely dry planet. Koenig leads a small landing force and discovers a glowing rock formation, which comes alive and cuts off the party's links with the base. It is a trap. The planet needs water to survive, and has lured the travelers there for the water in their blood.
Directed by series staple Ray Austin. And it's written by Keith Miles. And guest star, Patrick Maurer as David Riley. Maurer, who's a veteran of British TV from such shows as The Sweeney, Bergerac, and UFO, among many others.
Yeah. Before we get into this,
yes,
I would like to talk about the gifts of Mr. Patrick Maurer, however it's pronounced.
Maurer?
Maurer. Whatever. He plays a guy in this episode. Let's just get on with it. I'm sorry.
Dave Riley.
Talk about him when we introduce him.
All right. So he shows up like right at the beginning here. We have a small...
He is playing the role this week of crew member we've never seen before or since.
So it's about small planets detected by Alpha within range of them, and there's a presence of a rare element, Milganite.
No, much like Solomonite. It reminded me of Solomonite in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
As they keep saying it different ways.
Yes.
Through the whole episode, there's like malignite, malganite, melganite. They can't settle on one pronunciation of this stuff.
So they have a survey eagle go out to find it and brings them back, and Koenig leads a team of Helena, Maya, Tony, and Alan Carter, and coming with them, geologist David Riley.
That we've never seen before.
Yes. During the flight to Planet Riley, he's an Irishman transplanted to Texas, and thinks he's a cowboy. This guy...
What is with Irish cowboy overacting man? I mean, I didn't get that at all. Like, he's Irish, but he's Texan, and his accent was like somewhere in between.
He's got like a shit cowboy hat and that like army fatigue jacket thing that people wore, and he looks like James Frain.
Yes, he does. He does look like James Frain.
He's like really gross too.
He refers to rocks as she and her. Like, look at her. Oh, she's a beauty. About rocks.
Rocks.
I mean, I've heard people say that about cars and boats or whatever, you'll refer to them in the feminine pronoun. But rocks? I'm sorry,
rocks? Man. Oh, gosh. So I do like one of the piece of writing here when they talk about this mission being like a piece of cake.
Oh, yeah.
And Maya's like, what is a piece of cake? Or she goes like, piece of cake? I'm like, ha! You're a smarter show than I thought you were. Normally that would just go by the wayside.
I don't know, though, because there are other episodes when she inexplicably knows pop culture references from, human culture that she should never know. So,
right.
This instance, yes, but I think in other episodes we'll talk about not so much.
Not so much. So they land and look at where they believe the deposit is located. They find no traces of it, but there's a glowing rock formation.
It looks like a giant Ferrero Rocher candy.
Yeah,
it's got that gold foil.
Yeah,
It was shaped more like I guess I'd say a giant gold foil Hershey Kiss.
Yep.
Like all by itself in the styrofoam cave.
Or like the minis of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yes.
Like
Perfect.
that
That color. Yes, that color.
That color too. When you said that, it triggered my brain to just like that. So they blast a piece of it off with a stun gun.
Which I don't understand because they determine it's not what they're looking for. It's not malignite or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they blow it up anyway.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens.
So when they examine it, it appears to be bleeding. They take it back to Eagle for one more tests of it. And Tony's like going to look at it in a microscope and he's like, bam! And he's dead. And I was like, okay, thank you.
This was the big commercial break sting of this episode.
Right.
Tony's like, well, I'm going to take a look at it. And then he looks at it and he gets zapped through a microscope and dies. They say, he's dead. And then, bum, 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 cut to commercial.
Yeah. Yes. Nah.
And, at least one.
And, yeah, they were like, he's dead. And then she's like, oh, you know what? Nope, he's not.
He got better.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's So Conan's like, we gotta get rid of the rock, and Maya and Helena are like, no, we gotta help Tony, so we need the rock to observe and maybe think. So
the rock is our friend.
Riley,
Can we keep it?
who is our Tony syndicate for this episode, I guess, because he's we'll tell you in a bit. He goes to search for the rock they're looking for. And then Koenig's like, Carter, go with them. And so him and Maya catch up with him in the cavern, and there's like no traces of it, despite the computer saying there is. And he checks the fluid from the rock, discovers that is blood corpuscles. Sure.
We argue about this rock, making this rock bleed for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we should cut it. No, if we cut it, we can hurt Tony. No, but if we don't cut it, we'll never learn what we need to find to save Tony. But it's a rock. No, it's a life form. And like another thing that bothered me, this guy's a geologist out in space on an alien planet. It takes him forever to realize this is a living thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just annoyed me. I was watching. I'm like, come on.
No, I get you. So, the Eagle, Helena's like alone with Tony and that rock, and she's watching the rock, but then like Tony gets up and like he gets like struck by a flash of light, and he leaves, and then she's like, Koenig, Tony's gone. So they go to look for him, and
I'm dead, but I'm better now. I'm gonna get up and go get a rock.
He returns to like the cavern, and he shoots off another piece of the rock and takes it to the Eagle, and then he like sets it by the other piece, and they fuse together. And Helena's like, hey, and he's like, no. The others return to the ship after he'd taken another piece, and she tells it like Helena's like, "What? Here's what happened." And John's like, "Okay, let's get out of here and dump the rock into space." But the Eagle's systems are all dead, so that can't happen. But I did note that an alternate title for this episode, Jim, could be Tony, because geez,
Something I wondered about, really quick. I don't know if I watched this on streaming. Did they speed Tony's walking up? Like when he got up and started doing his little like.
Yeah, there was a part. Yeah, there was like a couple shots.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a couple shots where it felt like that.
It reminded me of like Benny Hill. I was like, running across with my rock. Hey. And I also wanted to mention this story draws a lot from a Star Trek episode called Devil in the Dark, also about a living rock and people trying to mine it. So just wanted to mention that real quick. I'm like, oh, Fred Freiberger. Wonder
where you got that.
Wonder what the connection is. Oh, sure. Okay.
So when John tries to get rid of the rock, it like hits him with a blue flash, and he like falls out and Martin Landau just bug-eyed, and that's kind of funny.
It's different colors every time too, because that becomes important later when they shout out something really hilarious and dumb.
Yeah, and he goes, he's like, the rock hit me with a blue light. Like, oh, that's how okay.
They argue a lot about this rock, and as at this point that Koenig says that the rock somehow brainwashed the computer to see the malignite that they were looking for. I'm like, how does that work? A rock brainwashed your computer?
Right.
What?
Oh, gosh.
Did an AI write that? Because that doesn't make any sense to me.
They sense the rock has a purpose. They can't figure out what it wants. Within an hour and 45 minutes before the moon moves out of range, they have to find some answers. So they go back to the cave. Koenig tells Maya turn into a rock to communicate with
him rock to rock.
Rock to rock. But the rock doesn't want to. Rock says, like, talk to the hand because...
Talk to the other side of the rock because I don't have a hand.
So Helena's like, yo, John, the rock in here is now green. He's
and
like,
then his response
get out of there. She's like, I can't.
No, he says, be careful. That could be the death color.
Yes, the death color.
Like, what the hell does that mean?
The death color.
That could be the death color. Green. Yeah. Green could be the death color.
And Maya turning into a rock. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh, my gosh.
But, like, Helena gets trapped in the eagle by a green spotlight.
Right.
There's some gaffer pointing a green spotlight, and she's trying to act to it. Oh, my God, it's hilarious.
Oh, so the rock starts, like, searching the eagle with the green light, and it locates the stores of water and absorbs it all. So that's what it wants. And the rocks, like, apparently drain this whole planet of its water.
Yes, there's two rocks.
Yeah, and there's no more water. It's, like, started to die off. The rock takes control of the eagle and lifts off. It only gets a little ways before it lands again. Apparently, it can't leave the rest of itself behind.
I love how the rock was able to pilot a spaceship, get it to lift off. Meanwhile, Helen is just kind of standing there while it's all going on and just watching it happen. It's hilarious. And it takes off, and they're like, no, I don't think so. And then it comes back. And it's the music here is super dramatic, too. Like, they're all standing there watching it take off and come back, and it's like, bum, ba-da-dum, bum. It's just very, very dramatic music in this part for some reason.
Oh, so it starts searching the engine's computer for star charts. Koenig's like, hey, it's going to activate Tony again. I'm sure of it. I read the script. Just hoping he collects more of the parent rock. He decides to stun Tony and see if that will break the rock's control over him. Helena's like, nope, Tony just left the eagle. And they wait for him in the cavern, and he gets there and he blasts off another piece of the parent rock. But before he gets back there, he stuns him and he vanishes. And he reappears back in the eagle, and he awakens free of the rock's control. Koenig tries to use Tony's comm lock, which was left when he transported, to open the eagle door to get them out. But when they look for it, it's gone because Riley took it to go rescue Helena and Tony on his own. And he manages to get him out, but he's stunned by the rock.
He just wanted to be alone with that rock, dude.
Right. He gets stunned by the rock. Big green light. Yeah, big green light again. Big green light. We got to have the big green light. The rock takes him over to gather more of itself. So he is now possessed. And like I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wait, Riley couldn't really wait to do this rescue as a group? Like, what? Like, what was the... Okay. So after having Maya modify a stun gun to fire 4 beams at once, Koenig has her transform into a rock again so that Riley will bring her back to the eagle instead of more parent rock. And then John and Alan follow him back, and they get to the door before it closes. The rock stuns him as Riley puts Maya in the rock form next to the other, and it starts to pull her closer.
Merge with her. Oh my God!
Yeah, it's trying to fuse her, and she's like, Koenig! And she's like, the rock.
I love this shot because it's like her face superimposed.
Yes.
On the rock.
On the rock.
Like, so it's like her.
That's the one she is.
Yes, that's the rock she is. You don't want to get confused with the other rock. She's like, help, Koenig! Break the blah, 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 the MacGuffin of the thingy thing. And it's hilarious.
Oh, so they like the rock turns red and tries to hit them with a red light. Maya's like, that's the death color.
That's the death color.
Koenig fires the modified stun gun and it dehydrates the rock, saving Maya, freeing Riley, and the Eagle of the rock's control. So they call Tony and Helena back to the Eagle, prepare to leave, and they toss the rock out and lift off. And they're almost out of range of the moon when this happens. So Riley lives. Just saying. He was not he could come back for another adventure. I don't think he does, but so as the Eagle climbs, they listen to the fate of the rock. It will die within hours if it doesn't get water. They realize it didn't want to hurt him. It just wanted to survive. And as they approach the heavy cloud cover, Helena comments says, too bad clouds won't give up their water in time to save the rock. But Maya says she can make it rain by dropping nucleoid crystals into the clouds.
Nucleoid active crystals.
Active crystals.
Yes, that's the same thing they put in Folgers instant coffee.
Yeah. And John gives the okay, and then they jettison crystals from the bottom of the Eagle. It thunders and starts to rain over the rock. Riley muses that they didn't get away with any malganite, and Helena responds that they did get away with their lives.
Yeah.
So they continue back to Alpha with virtually no time to spare.
The real malignite. Friends we made along the way.
Right. Oh gosh, that would have been perfect. So my first thought on this one was, wow, a real budget-friendly, cost-saving episode.
Ah! We're just going to use that same cave we always use.
Yep.
We're going to make a giant gold-covered Hershey kiss, and we're going to have this rock be the star.
No big crew, just a core cast and one guest star.
Right. And the guest star is chewing up every bit of scenery he can get, so they give him a lot of screen time.
Someone told them to make every second count. You never know when you'll get work again. Yeah, you know what? My first thought was like, I was ready to cry. Like we haven't, this is only 4 episodes in our journey in this second season, but of all the Space 1999 I have seen, I've like quick to crown this like maybe the worst episode I've seen of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. You can definitely see the case being made for it. For sure. It was not a great episode in any way.
It was really boring. It had nothing going on. It was
the only thing good about it was Tony was out of action for most of it.
Yeah, that was the best part. Yeah. But then they cut, like, they could have had us with like a core cast of Alan, Helena, Maya, and Koenig, but no, they got to throw Riley in, so we just can't enjoy ourselves fully.
There's somebody as a casualty.
Somewhere, Victor Bergman rolls around in his grave. Rocks!
Right.
Rocks! Oh, geez. So, yeah, that is all that glisters, and that'll do it for another Moonbuggy adventure. In the meantime, Jim, where can people find and keep up with your things?
Well, first off, every week I'm on Nothing's On podcast with Johnny Salvo and Daryl Taylor at the TaylorNetworkPodcast.com. Or, I'm sorry, just TaylorNetworkPodcast.com. Every week we cover movie and TV news, entertainment news, all the news that doesn't matter in our own knuckleheaded and fun way. Also, the Walking Dead TV podcast is back as they're winding down with the last season of the show, and the other shows are also coming out. We're covering every single one of them as we have since the beginning. That's available at hhwlod.com.
All right. Hashtag all the colors of the rock. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brand4KUHD, written work at whysoblue.com. There's always more from the Brandon Peters Show this week, next week, whenever weeks it's here. But until then,
Alpha out and beware the death color.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail@BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.